and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. Today we are recording episode 67, and we have a special announcement. Sorry, still battling this cold a little bit. I think Jared and I both are getting over something that time of the year, but we have a special announcement very soon. Jared and I will be doing a podcast, or multiple podcasts, really, in this on the same continent. Really hard to believe. Really looking forward to it. Jared will be coming to visit during my spring break for school. So today we're going to be talking about some potential things we might be doing, some travel plans. I'm also curious to see not only what Jared wants to do and what he wants to see, but kind of his process behind traveling, because I personally, I'm going to toot Jared's horn a little bit right now, and I think Jared is a very smart, savvy traveler. So I'm curious to pick Jared's brain today and see what some of his plans and ideas are. So should be a good episode, and we hope you enjoy our different travel plans and the future content that will be coming out when Jared's here. So without further ado, my buddy Jared, what's going on, my dude?
Hello.
On the road again.
On the road again. Cross the big pond, the big ol' ocean there. Yeah, we're gonna be together soon. We got to figure out a better way to listen. I love your introductions. I specifically told you when we started this that I wanted you to do it because I thought you'd be great at it, and I was right. However, this is a critique from a friend and co-podcaster. We got to figure out a better way to introduce something. Put some more spark in it first. I feel like you came out with it too fast.
Yeah, maybe.
You got to lead up to it a little bit.
Got to tease him a little.
What's going on? Oh, travel plans. Where are they going? Who's going somewhere? But yeah, I'm super excited, and this trip is right around the corner. I'm going to say this. Score 1 for Jared and price alerts. You didn't beat me this time, price alerts.
That's true.
I'm actually still getting them. And because I'm a psycho, I actually do open them to see what the prices are, even though I've already bought my ticket.
They've gone up, though, right?
It's either stayed at the same or gone up, yes.
Okay, good.
I haven't so far. I haven't gotten angry being like, oh, okay, now it's $100.
Exactly. I'm just waiting for your text message. Like, yep, apparently I should have waited because this ticket's only $300 now. But yeah.
So since we've already talked about it, I'm going to be visiting you in Czech Republic. However, starting in Berlin, my flight goes to Berlin, and you'll be meeting me there, and we'll be spending some time there, and then we're going to go, well, I don't know fully actually how that's going to work after that, but we'll also obviously go to at least Prague, probably Komutov, and maybe and most likely some other place or two.
Definitely.
And I'm going to be there a matter of, by the time this podcast comes out, like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
a little less
wild.
than 3 weeks. So...
and Jared, where can our listeners find all of our crazy shenanigans once you cross the pond?
Oh man, you're really gonna want to be following us on Instagram when we're together in Europe, because we're gonna be taking pictures like 13-year-old girls that are.
Does that mean duck face included?
Yeah, of course. That just got a smartphone for the first time. Hashtag first Insta post. No. So you can follow. I'm getting off of what you asked me. To see all this stuff and hear our ramblings while we're gone, follow us on Twitter first, Untranslatable1, the number 1. There, you can also find our songs of the pod that we post every day after every episode. We always talk about how great the music videos are. Check it out there. And I usually, if I can, try to post it from the actual artist that put it out from their page. Support the people. Follow us on Instagram. See all of our pictures and duck faces and kissy faces and and our bottle service that we're going to be getting at clubs. Look forward to sparklers hanging out of Smirnoff. On Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, or you can email us. Tell us about your travel stories, or give us some untranslatable ideas, because every episode I feel like we're running out of them, and I feel like I'm on my last 3. So give us some untranslatables, which are sayings, idioms, or stuff, and,
Пожалуйста.
5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher as well. Oh, you can also see us on YouTube now.
That's right.
That's out there. So
that's right.
If you ever wondered what a hungover yet happy Jared look like? This is it. This is it.
And a fairly sleepy Chad as well, because I had 5 hours of sleep last night, 4 hours before that. So
Damn. Why'd you go to bed so late? What was the occasion?
well, Friday night was my school's first Maturitní ples, which is a Czech ball
So all the other ones you've gone to have been other schools that you've just been as a guest.
in Chomutov. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I went. The other ones I went to were the gymnasium. Or as they say in English, I guess, grammar school, which I did not know that's what they referred to it as.
What's grammar school? Is that like middle school or elementary
No, that's
school?
gymnasium. It's
Oh,
like
so
the
high school.
high school level. Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard
But
grammar
my
school
school,
either.
as you can see, I can show you all the ticket. Here it is.
Nice.
Well, this is actually the program.
oh, well,
my
hold
ticket
on.
was used.
It's a toga party?
Toga. Yeah, it was so the way these work, and sadly my Czech is not good enough to translate all of these, but this is like the plan. And so if I can, by memory, let me try to figure out what some of these are. So at 8 o'clock, I think that's just like the introduction. Then at 8:10, I believe, is where they had. I'm pretty sure that's when they had their little. They have like a dance rehearsal, and they
So
all
it's-
came out in togas.
Is the introduction like
They have a moderator. They had a guy there that was a moderator.
they call it a moderator, not like a host or a MC
I mean,
or
it's like
something?
a host.
Okay.
MC, yeah, MC,
Moderator is so
host,
official.
moderator.
Sounds like it's a debate.
the dude had a suit. I've heard they can make pretty good money. Being a moderator. Too bad my check's
get
not
like,
better.
They get it's like I have a podcast. I'm very good at
Right?
speaking to 50 people at a time. Do they they actually hired? They're not part of the school or anything.
No, yeah, they hire.
Oh, okay.
And what's
So it's
crazy
probably
about
like a Czech comedian or something?
well, it depends. I think there's some people that might even like do that for a living, or at least a pretty lucrative side hustle. But what's interesting about these balls, or as you can see once again on the program Maturitní ples, is the students organize everything. So the students are the ones who, I'm pretty sure, at least at our school, I'm pretty sure they're the ones who are responsible for renting the venue, raising the funds, and so the tickets, and they sell tickets. So you can get balcony seats, which you can see the dance floor better and see the routines better. And those were 200 crowns. And then the standing room behind the tables were, I believe, 160 crowns.
What'd you go for?
Well, I paid nothing for them because I'm a teacher at the school. So they invite you. So they come in. Actually, it's funny. On my table right here, and this wasn't even planned, but I have invitations from my other students for the other balls.
Oh, it's like
So
a
here's
golden
one of
ticket.
them.
That's pretty nice.
Yep. And then another one right here. And I believe this means like high in the sky or something like that.
Okay.
So it's
that
like
looks
a
like
kind
a
of like
club. That looks like a club promo.
Right. And then I have my ticket for that one right here. So this one is, so you can see right
Man,
here.
by the
on
way,
the
did
side
I
it
mention that
says-
we're on YouTube? This is a full show and tell episode, everyone.
Exactly. And
You're
so
going to
for
want to
this-
see this, I guess.
Right. And for this one, as you can see over here, it says balcón, which is balcony.
Right.
But because I'm a teacher, it's funny. I have balcony tickets, but when I walked in, they have a couple different color wristbands. They have, I think they have a blue one, maybe a yellow one, and a green one, or an orange one or something. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I got a green one, and I was looking around. I'm like, I don't see anybody with a green one. What is this? And then I walk up, and I realize it's for the right. They made one green one just for me. No, it was for the teachers' table.
Okay.
So the teachers have a spot right by the floor where they have rehearsal, where they have the main performance. And for this one, they had togas on. It was awesome.
Did you wear a
And
toga?
No, I had a suit on.
Okay.
I'll ask a couple students. I got some pictures with them. I'll ask them if it's okay for me to post them on the Insta. If I get their approval,
We'll
then
have our
hopefully I can
lawyers
pop
send
them on
something
there.
over to...
That's right. Perfect. But the nice thing is, at the table, they had these bad boys. Some more show and tell for you, Jared. They had these boys that are just Czech pretzel sticks, and they were free. And they also had, this isn't from the Ples, but they had water at the table as well that was free for the teachers.
Do they actually... So is a dinner actually served during this? It's
No,
just
it's
a
only
dance
drinks.
and drink kind of situation.
Right.
Okay.
And the students go all out. All out. It's
You mean
crazy.
party-wise?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they're not ashamed to go
yeah.
ham in front of their teachers.
I think it's just kind of accepted that it's a part of the
That's
atmosphere.
kind of nice, though. I kind
Yeah.
of like that because that doesn't really happen. I mean, it happens in college sometimes.
Right.
We had a teacher. I mean, I guess shouldn't use names. But once you hear the story, when we went to France, I remember when I was in Austria, studying abroad in Austria. I was doing a program through my business program at our college back home, and the program took place in France for 2 weeks or for a week or whatever. It was a week, and then they came to Michigan for a week. Next semester or whatever.
the French people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we had, 2 professors come with us or 2 or 3 professors come with us to France. And for, the French people were showing us a good time. They were taking us out to clubs and stuff. And we went to this one club and we had sort of our own, it was a nice, like one of those big on the Champs-Élysées clubs, but we had like our own little area. And
VIP, nice.
all of us college students that are very used to getting too drunk were looking over at the teacher like, wow, he's really putting him back there. Whoa, oh my gosh, he's really, is that another shot? Is he holding that bottle of tequila like Vin Diesel in
nice.
Fast and Furious?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And next thing we know, we're on he's out on the Champs-Élysées throwing up on the, hugging a pole, throwing up. This is our professor.
Oh no. You'll have to tell me later who it was.
And so we get back to so it was me and one other professor out there with him, and then me and then another student, hanging around, and he was literally just hugging a pole, throwing up on the side of the road. And then a taxi comes, we all get into the taxi. He throws up in the lobby of the hotel we're staying at.
Oh no.
This is our professor, by the way.
Man,
a man with
that's
a
wild.
wife and family. And then he gets to his room, throws up in his bed. Now he's done throwing up. That's the
jeez.
last throw up. Throws up in his bed, and then he starts.
He went ham.
And then he starts crying, and about some family issues he's having, and complaining like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened. Oh my gosh."
jeez.
And it was very awkward for me and my other classmate.
Were you guys staying in the room with him?
No,
What-
we took him to his room, and
Okay.
when he first got in, he
and
threw up in his bed, and so we couldn't just leave right away.
Right.
And then,
God.
and then as we were doing that, he started complaining about some family issues he was having.
He gave you a 4.0, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, he was not responsible for our grade. He was more just a
Okay.
chaperone. He wasn't even part of the program, to be honest with you. I think
interesting.
professors were allowed to
Fascinating.
volunteer. Because there were 2 people that were there that were fully part of the program, and then there was one
Okay.
other, which was him, who's not really part of it, but I think he's just like they just selected or he volunteered to
Right.
essentially chaperone, and then it ended up that the students were chaperoning him.
Right.
It was very awkward to watch me and my classmate like consoling this 40 plus year old man.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild.
And I was like, and I was drunk too, and he was. I mean, I wasn't that drunk. Obviously, I had my shit together, but like I was
Right.
like, I'm in no place to be doing this.
Also though, caring for somebody, I don't care if it's your professor or who it is, it sobers you up a little bit.
It
I
is
think.
very sobering. I've been in a couple of
That's for
situations
sure.
in college where I've taken care of people, and I've been just as drunk as that person, just not throwing up.
Right.
And it definitely sobers you up very quickly, and you
definitely.
you almost turn into like parent mode or something.
Right.
Shit
what was
just got
funny?
real.
Right. You know what was funny about the ball though? So the ball goes until 2 at the theater, which is not even a 5-minute. I mean, I can literally see it from my window right here as we're recording this podcast. So it's not far at all. And so I came back real quick to change.
That's great.
Before I went to the club, the after party, right? And there's only really technically 1 or 2 clubs in Chomutov. And the big one's called Admiral. And depending on the timing, maybe I'll take
Admiral?
you there. Yeah.
Okay.
And dude, I don't know what it is. When you bring in your coat for coat check, they give you these little tiny slips of paper with a number on them. Every time I lose
Asking
them.
to, yeah.
Every time.
So you just have to look
not
back and
every
be
time.
like, and like look
I'm
through.
1 for 3. 1 for 3 there.
So you've not lost it once.
Right. But the other 2 times I lost it. But the funny thing was, so I came back and I changed, right? And I guess when I was like taking my dress shirt off or something, I pulled the little, wristband off, right? And you need the wristband to get in for free.
Okay.
And so it was the way.
So you had to
the
try
way
to
it
convince them
broke.
that you're a teacher?
Well, so what I did is I brought this, and I had my ticket.
Okay.
And the guy was like, "You need a wristband." And I told him in Czech, "Sem učitel." I'm a teacher. And he kind of
Wow.
looks at me. Yeah, he kind of looks at me, and he's like, and I was about to take out my wallet to pay for it. I think it would have been like 120 crowns or something. Not that expensive, like $3-4 bucks.
It helps that everything in the Czech Republic is cheaper than everything that you're used to in the U.S. anyway.
Except for Prague. Prague's a different story.
Right,
But we
right.
can talk about that later.
Right.
But so and then he like looks at him, like a couple of the students walk by and they say hi to me, and he's like okay, and he literally he was like okay uchitel, like in a really condescending manner.
Such a power trip, like
right.
It's like, bro, you're not a police officer. Like, relax.
Right. You stand at a disco until 5 a.m. collecting money. Yeah, it's not that important of a job. But yeah, so that was kind of the first thing that I was like, damn it, like I don't have my wristband. I'm gonna have to try to get my way. And I figured worst case scenario, I'll just pay for it, whatever.
Right.
And then I go to check my coat, and once again these little tiny slips of paper. And I went to put it. You know how in jeans you have the regular pocket and then you have the little tiny pocket on the right side sometimes?
No idea what that's for.
I slipped it in there, and then I must have went to pay for a drink and used coins and pulled that out. It was gone.
That floor, when the party's over at the end of the night, that floor is probably just littered with coat check slips.
Oh, I'm sure. Next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of it on my phone.
That's smart. That's very smart.
Do that.
And
but I remembered the number this time.
Okay, that's
because
good.
Last time I didn't remember the number. I could see my coat though, and I pointed at it, and I told him black leather jacket, headphones in this pocket. He grabbed it. The headphones were there. Fine. Same thing happened again, but this time I told him it's number 1, and he's like, "You don't have the thing." I'm like, I told him in Czech once again, "Nemám, I don't have nemám."
Right.
And he
Look at you
looks
using the check. I love it.
Right. And he looks at the bouncer guy, and he goes like this, like stand by him. Like what is he gonna do? He already doesn't like me.
Once
like,
again, power trip. This is like I'm not trying to steal someone else's coat here.
Right. And then thankfully, shout out to one of my students, Lukáš, or Luki as a lot of the other students call him. He walked in. I was like, "Oh, hey man, I need your help." I'm like, "Can you tell this guy it's a black leather jacket? It's number 1. I lost the slip. I'm just trying to go home." And so he told him, and he kind of rolled his eyes, and then he grabbed the coat, and everything was fine.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so I'm hoping that the last one is February 22nd. It probably won't be warm enough, but it is warm enough. I'm going no coat.
Yeah.
It's a 10-minute walk. I might just go no coat. Don't have to worry about it.
You could pull it off. Wear a sweater.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, so it was a great time. But what was funny is I wanted to leave around 2:30 or 3, right? And then as I'm walking out of the club, there are there's like a bar restaurant in the front and then a club in the back. And more of my students, of course, are sitting right outside the exit for the club. And they're
like, "Where favorite teacher?"
Right. They're like, and dude, I lost my voice that night because there was so much loud music. I still have a slightly sore throat. I literally kind of sounded like it was bad. My voice was horrible. And then I met a couple friends of my students, and then they just kept asking me questions. And I appreciate that they were genuinely interested, and we had a nice conversation.
But your voice, your spent
my voice
was yeah.
And I was ready to go back at 2:30. Yeah. I left at like 4.
Damn. Oh, just by hanging around and talking to them. Oh wow. So how was the actual party? Did you bring anyone? Go by yourself? No, the actual ball. Did you bring anyone or?
So funny story. So David, as all of our listeners should know by now, he was supposed to come visit. And unfortunately, he came from Hradec, where he lives, to Prague, because that's the way you have to go. And his first train was delayed by like 80 minutes. Then it was just canceled.
Well, that sucks.
The next one, it was delayed for, I think, 120 minutes. Also got canceled.
So he just hang in Prague or something?
So he was stuck there for quite, I think, 2, 3, 4 hours, something like that. The last train that would have got him to Chomutov, which probably would have also been delayed, maybe even canceled, would have gotten him into Komutov at like 11.
And
so we just decided we'll just chill another time. We'll figure it out. But he actually went home because I don't blame him. After all that frustration, I just want to be in my own bed.
Yeah, and it's not like he doesn't particularly want to be in Prague. It's not like I'm just stuck here. It's not like I want to be here. So I'm just gonna go home. That makes sense. That sounds like a good time.
It was a lot of fun.
Did you? So as a teacher, you kind of just like it's more. You're not hitting the dance floor, I assume. It's more just chit chatting and hanging out.
I hit the dance floor a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit, but because I was still, as you can probably still hear from my voice,
you sound wonderful.
Thank you. Trying to get over this cold. The more I hear that, the less that sounds like Kermit. By the way, that's not even close.
That's the problem with hearing something over and over again, like in the vacuum like that.
Right.
It's like when you say a word over and over again, it doesn't even sound like a word anymore.
That's true. That's a good point. What was your question?
Dancing on the dance floor.
Oh, yeah. So I hit the dance floor for a couple songs, but I wasn't really trying to overexert myself too much since I was already drinking alcohol, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. But
right.
Speaking of which, it is what it is. But yeah. But what was also funny though, before the ball, I went. There's a secondhand thrift store here in Komutov. And I only brought 2 ties with me, and I've worn both of them at different events here. And I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to be the 2-tie guy, so I got to change it up.
All right, 2-tie Chad.
That's right. Now you can call me 4-tie Chad. So there we go. Up in my game.
Really moving up in the world.
That's right. But I found this really cool tie. But the first of all, I walk in, and the store was going to close in like 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And the woman, I realized what she was saying after she repeated it a few times. But she said the store closes at 5. The store closes at 5. So I was like, okay, fine, no problem. So I'm looking around, and at first I was also looking, because it's a secondhand thrift shop, I was trying to see if there were any like cool suits or cool blazers or something.
Yeah, you can get a lot of fun blazers from there, yeah.
But the thing is, all these blazers looked like they were straight out of the 60s, 70s, or 80s. They had the really long, is it a collar? What is it? They had the flaps
like the
on
wide
side.
Lapels.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, They had super wide lapels.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm not trying to rock that.
Groovy there, fella. I don't even know what 70s people
right?
sound
Where
like.
the collar, that's the super big collars.
Yeah, then the big
go
shirt
with the
on
mustache.
top of
it. Right. So yeah, but the ties there were also pretty cheap. I think I bought 2 ties for 180 crowns.
Wow, that's a good deal for sure.
So yeah.
That's cool. So I don't know.
Enough about me. What's been going on with you?
Brad's in town. I mentioned that. And one thing I realize is I don't know how to be a tour guide in Philadelphia. First of all, so he got here on Friday evening, and I took him some places around here. We went to this BYOB place for dinner where you bring I love the BYOB places because it's cheaper and you can drink way more. So
are there a lot in Philly? BYOB places?
I went to the 2 dinners we had were both BYOB. Now that I think about it. So the first night we went to a pizza place that was in my neighborhood, and we brought some beer from a local store. And then we came back to my place and hung out for a bit, had some drinks and played some FIFA. And,
nice.
And then we went back out to a jazz bar locally and
sweet.
had a couple beers there and listened to some music. And it was reggae style music. It's a place I've been to a bunch of times. And then so that was a nice. I showed him around my area a little bit, and that was nice. And then so the next day, the thing about, and this is probably something we'll get into for our trip as well, or my trip as well, not our trip. I'm the only one getting on a plane.
Oh,
for this.
dude, it's our trip though. We're traveling places.
That's
it's
true.
Our
We're
trip.
both traveling, but nighttime is easy. It's the date, finding stuff to, especially for us young party
Strapping
animals.
young lads.
Nighttime is easy, especially it's nighttime's gonna be harder in a place that we don't know, but especially like my own city.
Sure.
Finding good bars or finding good places to go eat, that's so easy.
Right.
Finding stuff to do during the day is the difficult part for me. And so Brad said he wanted to see the Liberty Bell, and I found out that you can see the Liberty Bell without actually walking in. There's a lot of people that line up to see that bell. And so we did that. I literally bought a lift to see the Liberty Bell. Then once we saw it, I'm like, well, I don't really know what else I want to do in the city now. And so I just kind of walked him around the city for a bit and showed him stuff around. And then we came back. And I was telling him, and so like it's just I wish I knew how to tour guide during the day. Do you have any? I wasn't planning on asking this. You're not prepared for this. But do you have any pointers for tour guiding in your city for during the day activities?
Well, first of all, I mean, it really depends on who you're with, right?
Right.
So I mean,
Brad's
the first
easy
thing,
in the sense that he's very go with the flow. But
right.
I'm also very
for
anxious
sure.
about like the person having a good time and me not
Right.
boring them.
Yeah. Well, this could potentially bore them, but my go-to would probably be some type of museum.
But you're not a museum person, and he's not either, for that matter.
Excuse me. What are you talking about? I like museums.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy museums.
All right.
I mean, I'm not going to spend all day at a museum.
Right, you're not one of those people staring at
No,
each painting for
no.
30 minutes.
I would say my brain capacity and attention span for a museum is probably maximum 3 to 4 hours, depending on how big it is.
I mean, that's a long time.
right,
I was gonna say mine's an hour to 2 hours.
right, which is still fairly.
And 2 hours, if it's 2 hours, it's got to be like 2 hours has to be like if I'm going to the Peterson Car Museum. Like it has to be something I'm real interested in.
Right, for sure. But museums would be one. Another,
Yeah, I could have taken him to the
thing
Rocky
too,
Museum, I guess.
There you go. Another thing too during the day would be, I don't know, just find like and I'm sure you've probably done this, but take them to a good local food place. Right now, it's not ideal because it's winter. But if it was summer, I'd say find a cool spot where you can chill outside and eat.
Yeah.
Any good parks, just to kind of stroll around.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would say just any other things you would do during the day if you had the day off. So go watch a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, putt golf. Who knows?
If it was in the 30s, if it was not in the 30s like it is, I would have
Right.
taken him to where I go mountain biking because I think that place is really cool. One because it's still in Philadelphia, but it's like in the woods, and
Right.
and I mountain bike there, but it's also you can hike and walk around there. So I probably would have taken him there if the weather was permitting. We were gonna do
Sure.
yoga. I'll get to why we did it in a second, but
I think I have an inclination, but yeah.
I'm sure you do, because you also know why that also has a little something to do with the fact that we're doing the podcast at 4 o'clock rather than the initial planned 8 a.m. And so here's the deal. I'll just get to it. So my plan. So Brad's here, and so it's hard for me. Oh, one thing I want to give you props. You deserve props. An early shout out of the pod for Chad. I have a newfound respect for how difficult it is to travel and like have people come visit you and all that stuff and plan the podcast in. Like plan time to do that. Because
It's tricky.
Because you also have to account for other people that you a lot of times that you can't really like. It's hard to account for other people and exactly where you're going to be at any time, especially since that's not how
Sure.
we like when we're on trips or when we're entertaining people. That's not how we like to do it. We don't like to have like a set schedule. At 4 we'll be here.
No.
So I even felt kind of bad like going to a place and telling Brad we're leaving at 4 or we're leaving at 3:30 so I can get back and be ready by 4 or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, the plan was to do the podcast at 8 a.m. because I thought, all right, well, Brad, we might, have a good night, but I can get up at 8. I've
Right.
been drunk and woken up early before. I can handle a little intoxication and wake up early, and I'll do it early in the morning. We love doing early podcasts; it's fun.
Right.
So I was telling Brad about this one restaurant that I haven't been into in a long time. I haven't been there because it's a Mexican restaurant by where my ex used to live, and it's kind of out of the way. I haven't been in a long time, but it's a Mexican restaurant. It's also BYOB. And what's great
For our listeners out there that don't know
Right,
what
thank
BYOB
you.
is, bring your own booze or bring
Thank
your own
you.
beer.
And they tend to be, and so what's good about it, at least personally, is that it's usually cheaper because, alcohol tends to be. That's Brett. Alcohol tends to. My Harry Potter closet, much like in Harry Potter, is under the staircase, and I just heard him walk up the stairs.
Oh, there you go.
Alcohol is very expensive at restaurants. They always mark it up a bunch, and so if you bring your own, you can drink however much you want, and it's
Right.
cheaper because you're buying it from a store rather than a restaurant. And so this place is amazing because it's they have margarita mixes, and they're homemade margarita mixes, and they're thicker. And way better than like if you go to a Mexican restaurant, it's just kind of this watery citrus
Yeah,
juice
it's
that's
no good.
margarita
Yeah.
mix. But this is this homemade thick juice. And then you
Nice.
bring your own tequila and you just mix it together.
Boom.
And so Brad and I bought a fifth of tequila, and we thought, we're not going to drink a full fifth of tequila at this restaurant. We're not degenerates. So we took a little bit of it out and put it into some other glass, and I guess I'll do something with it later. I never drink tequila. And we went there with the tequila. And we drank all that we had brought, let's put it that way, and
Okay.
except for like a shot left. And this margarita mix was so good. The first one was blood orange. The second one was mango mint. And
Interesting. Okay.
It was real good, and I had a steak fajitas.
Delicious.
Brad had a steak burrito. It was delicious.
You're making me hungry.
And then after we went to a jazz club in Center City. I live in Northern Liberties, but the Center City is, downtown is what people would call it, essentially. And so we went there, and I took him to another jazz place, which is always packed, especially on a Saturday, packed to the brim. We were shuffling our way through. As we were walking up to the bar, the two people right in front of us were leaving the spot. We got a spot at the packed bar.
Oh, nice.
And so we heard some amazing jazz. It was a bass drum. It was a bass, a drummer, a guitar, and a trombone.
Nice. Quartet.
And it was real good. Granted, we didn't stay long because once again we had drank a lot of tequila beforehand.
Uh-huh.
And so we went home. And it was a good time. And I also took him to get cheesesteak.
Oh, nice.
Here's my personal take. And anyone that is a Philadelphia listener that listens to this or a fan of cheesesteaks, here's my pro take. Overrated. It's not gross, but it's overrated. It's just steak in a sandwich. Like, it's not that special. And so Brad and I split one. And he said it was good, but it's not like, it's not like you don't have to, just because you're in Philadelphia, you don't have to go out of your way to eat it. There's a lot of great food in Philadelphia. Cheesesteaks is fine. It's just a sandwich.
Right.
A hearty sandwich. So we got that. That was good. And
What kind of cheese is on it? Like cheddar?
Well, the traditional has cheese whiz.
What?
Which
really?
is disgusting to me.
Yeah, it's
I find
like
that
a
to be
spray
disgusting.
cheese,
Yes,
yeah.
cheese whiz. Yes,
Yeah.
once again, for all of our non-American listeners, because there's cheese whiz is probably illegal in all the other countries that
Most
listen
likely.
to.
Most likely. Definitely.
Cheese whiz is it's cheese with quotes around it because it's essentially
Right.
cheese out of a can that you can spray almost like whipped cream. That's cheese.
Right. It's cheese whipped cream. That's
And,
basically what it is.
And so we skipped that. We got sharp provolone, which is kind of
There you go.
similar to Swiss, I'd say.
Right.
And so that was fine, but it's just like it's just whatever. It's just a
Right.
sandwich. And so yeah, and then so today we went to we had a great brunch. I woke up. By the way, to be fair, I woke up at 7:30. We were planning to do it at 8. I woke up at 7:30. I got up. My head it felt like someone was like using my brain as a speed bag when I woke up.
Okay.
But I was up and I was was like, I kept on cutting it closer and closer. I was like, well, I'm not gonna tell him no yet because I just gotta get up.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I could not do it, and so I didn't get up until like I'd probably say like 9:30 is when I moved from my bed to my sofa and I played a game of FIFA against Brad. And then by around 10:30, I actually got up, took a shower, and then we went to go get breakfast. And we went to, God, I don't think Brad took a picture of it, but we went to this breakfast place, and they have red velvet pancakes. It's
nice.
literally just breakfast cake. Like, it's literally
Sounds
cake.
like it. Mm-hmm.
It's red velvet cake that is in the shape of pancakes. No joke, this thick.
Really?
And-
Is that good hangover food?
It's too sweet for me to be hangover
I was
food.
going to say, yeah.
And it's probably, I'm going to get this as I have an old iPad here. No joke. Each slice is probably this big.
Oh, wow.
There's 3 of them that are a size of an original iPad, but thicker than an original iPad.
So like two original iPad thick, maybe?
Yeah. And there's
Okay.
like a dollop
Dang.
of icing on it. Excuse me, a dollop of
geez.
butter.
Okay.
And then each level is split with icing.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't do that.
And
No.
so Brad and I split. They have a children's size, but they only give adults the children's size if they order 2 other entrees. So Brad and I,
little
and so which is kind of what I
All right.
wanted, because it's like I can't eat this entire cake for breakfast. This is just
Right.
going to exacerbate the hangover. So I got eggs and potatoes and meat and stuff.
There
and
you
then
go.
we split
That's
it.
what you need.
But even the children's version, which is smaller, maybe the size, maybe a third of the size of that. That's a square.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even eat half of all of my half of that.
I believe it.
And there is this girl that was probably like half the size of me, and I'm a tiny person. She was an adult, but she was a very small person. And she had ordered just red velvet pancakes with a side of bacon, and Brad and I took bets on how much of it she would eat. He said 25%.
Did she eat all of it?
No. He said 25%. I said 30 to 40. She ate a good 30 to 40% of that thing.
Oh,
She was
wow.
going
That's
to
impressive.
town on it.
That's impressive. That's crazy.
But yeah, it was a good time, and it was good to have Brad here. And he's still here, but his plane leaves in a couple hours, and I'll drive him to the airport.
Nice.
It's-
Give
but-
him my regards. He's a great guy, and I'm glad you guys have been having fun. But you're right though, Jared. Here's the thing. I agree with you. It can be sometimes stressful or even unenjoyable to be the tour guide,
Especially
because
since it's his first time in Philadelphia, too.
right.
So, like,
right.
what do I got to show him? Or what does he have to see to say that he's been to Philadelphia?
Right. But I think the nice thing about you and I think Brad as well, is that you and I are fairly easy to please.
Yes.
We tend to, like you said, we don't have everything planned to the brim. If we want to sleep in till noon because we were out kind of late the night before, we can do that, and it's not an issue. But
Brad and I do work well on that level in a sense because we do know each other very well, and we
Right.
know our personalities very well, each other's
Exactly.
personalities.
Right. And so that's why I'm really excited for your trip over to Europe. One, because you've been to Europe before. I mean, you're going to new places that you haven't been to, but you've still been to Europe. So I feel like maybe the pizzazz is not quite there. It's different than when you go somewhere for the first time.
And I'm not completely out of my element in Germany because I can get around
Right.
it by myself if need be, and I can
Right.
read signs and stuff.
Right. I'll try to give you some survival check. Maybe a couple episodes leading up to
angielski.
the that's not going to help you in Komutov very much.
Right,
I
they're all gonna
will
say
warn
no.
you. Right. And dude, in Prague today, I had to buy some clothes because my belt is falling apart. I've had this Levi's belt for like 3-4 years, and it was time to get a new one. So there's a Levi's store in Prague, an outlet. So I go in there, I bought a belt. And it just didn't quite fit right. And so I went back the next day to return it, and I go up to the counter, and I just don't like to be that guy that just goes up and just starts speaking English. I greeted
Right.
her in Czech, Dobrý den, and then I asked her, Mluvite anglicky? And she was like, she kind of looked scared, and she was like, no. And then I was like, well, we're going to try this. We're going to make this work one way or another. I put the belt up, and she's like, oh, you want to exchange? I'm like...
That's English, motherfucker.
Right. Do you speak it? Yeah, exactly. And so then I said, yeah, one size bigger. And so she like types in the computer.
She knew
goes over to
exactly
the
what you
belt
said
rack.
when you said one size bigger.
Exactly. Well, I also went like this, I think. I was like
Okay.
one size bigger. I should have probably gone like this, but either way, she knew what I meant. And so...
I mean, especially working in a clothes store, even if she's not proficient in English, if you're going to know English pertaining to work, saying bigger or smaller is probably going to be a common
Right.
one to hear.
Oh, definitely. But see, that was in Prague. So my whole moral of that story is some people you'll ask, Mluvite anglicky,
Right.
and they will say no, but they really do.
Yeah.
But I'll give you some survival check a couple episodes before you get here.
We could do that. You can give me like a American's perspective, like an American's perspective to entering Czech, like Czech Republic 101 from an American's perspective.
Exactly. And I'll ask my students this week in class if they have any special insider tips as well. Because I'm
Alrighty.
always curious to see what, it's different being an American living in the Czech Republic. They've lived here their whole lives. So it's a little different. But yeah.
For sure.
But I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. And I'm glad you've been having a good time with Brad.
Yeah,
So
too much fun.
I think a shout out is deserved. One for Brad, our
Yeah.
kind of mystery third ghost podcaster with us. And then I would like to give a shout out. I have a few actual shout outs, like news stories, but I want to give a shout out to my students from E4 and TM4.
Spread a little love.
They're a great batch of guys and one girl. Really great students. I'm very, very proud of them. It was wonderful to work with them, and I had a great time at their ball. So thank you all for the hospitality. It was really wonderful. And now let's move on to some
Did
other
you get any
shout-outs.
more, like, favorite teacher, best teacher that night?
Actually, no. But we were talking about other stuff. Like
Right.
the other balls we were at, because we were at the other schools, I
Right.
think the students from the other school were asking our students, oh, how's Chad as a teacher? Do you like him? Blah, blah, blah.
Right, you're on your own territory now.
Exactly. Do you have any shout outs before I get started?
Shout out to my liver for surviving this weekend.
There you go. It's a good shout out.
This was one of those weekends where, and I was not expecting this, but where it's like I'm almost, and I didn't go that crazy, but I'm almost afraid to open my bank account. Have you ever been there? Mm-hmm. Where it's like I don't even want to do it. I don't even want to open it. I don't want to know.
That was me this morning after my night in Prague. But I pay mostly with cash here, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah,
I did
agree.
do some cash payments, so that does. I didn't even think about that. That does help the bank account. Yeah.
Right. All right. So my first shout out goes out to the country of Pakistan and also the Prime Minister Imran Khan, who made the announcement that they are going to, I don't know how, but they're going to, they aim to reclaim land from the Pakistani mafia and turn it into forests with 10 billion trees. So there is this 2019 spring tree plantation drive as a part of the 10 billion tree tsunami day. So Khan had announced the 10 billion tree tsunami last year, soon after he took office, and today he tweeted about the inauguration. We are launching our Plant for Pakistan program and reclaiming mafia-encroached land, converting it into forests and wildlife parks for our future generations to fight climate change and pollution. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I wonder what the Pakistani mafia has to say about that.
Right? Yeah? It's a good question.
Menifregista.
Very good question.
That's cool though. I mean, I love all these initiatives to just make more forests and just have more wildlife.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so my next one, well, we need to head down south of the United States border to Mexico.
Slipping on gator piss.
And there is a researcher, Eva Ramon Gallegos, who is from the National Polytechnic Institute, and they have found a cure for the human papillomavirus.
Oh,
For
really?
HPV. Yeah.
HPV is one of those like sneaky. I mean, it's like a disease, but it doesn't really affect. It affects people, but it doesn't really like outwardly, especially males.
Right.
But like it's one of those things where it's like just everyone has it, and no one gets the vaccination.
Right.
Including me, to be fair.
So-
I haven't either.
Right. Well, do they have one for men?
I think they do. I think
Do
it's
they?
more useful
Okay.
for women because they have higher chances of things like cervical cancer. From
Exactly.
It and,
Exactly.
but I think men can do it too. And from what I've heard, at least this is what I heard Dr. Drew say once on a podcast. Is he said men like might as well do it because it's offered.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's more useful for
absolutely.
women, but it can't hurt.
Right. So right here it says that when they were explaining this, as you mentioned, the main causes of HPV, cervical cancer, is one of the biggest scares. But the investigation they did show that she was able to eradicate HPV in 100% of the patients who had the virus, but had no pre-malignant lesions. This is all medical terms. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Pre-malignant. I know what that means.
Pre-malignant lesions.
Yeah, malignant means that it is like attacking you. Like malignant tumors means that
Yeah, they can be
kill you.
cancerous. Right.
And so pre-malignant means it's in the stages of turning into a
Yeah.
cancerous cancerous cell. There's a science
Right.
corner for you from someone with no
you
no schooling on the matter.
Right.
That is awesome though.
So big shout out to
is,
her.
Has it been commercialized yet, or is
I'm not
it just?
sure. It didn't.
Okay.
It didn't say. It's probably still too early on in the.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
There's
and my
there's
last
a lot
one.
of steps to that to actually.
Oh, for sure.
Getting it into
Yeah.
people.
I'll have to ask my dad about that because he worked for a pharmaceutical company for.
Oh right.
Quite a while.
But he works
All
for
right.
one that usually gets their. He retired. Congratulations to him. Shout out to him.
Yep.
He works for one that usually gets their medication to the to stores through bribery and political means.
Yeah, it's different. That's true. That's true. All right, so my last shout out goes out to a police officer named Kevin Briggs, and he is a California Highway Patrol officer, and he has talked more than 200 people off the ledge of the Golden Gate Bridge, and they call him the guardian of the Golden Gate Bridge. So he's been working there for more than 23 years. And so he started in 1994. He was trained to handle traffic incidents, but had never received training on how to deal with people contemplating suicide. He didn't know at the time how pervasive the issue of suicide on the bridge was. And according to the story, there were 4 to 6 cases of suicidal folks on the bridge each and every month. And I had no idea about this. And he, like he said, he had no training. His first encounter with a suicidal person, he did about everything wrong that you could. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, am I responsible if she does jump? What happens here? I had no training in this.
Right.
This is a really bad scene. I was afraid. I didn't know how to handle it. I don't know if that was successful or not, but Briggs
So I just pushed her.
God damn it, Jay. Briggs says he learned a lot from the encounters. I think my approach right from the start was wrong, just to walk up right to those folks and start talking with them. Now,
Yeah,
what
but
I
I mean,
do is
you don't know what to
stand
do.
back.
I mean,
right.
it's still someone
Especially
trying to
no
help.
training.
Yeah.
But right here, now what I do is I stand back and I'll just introduce myself. I'll say, hi, I'm Kevin. Is it okay? Is it all right if I come up and speak with you for a bit? I want to get their permission and empower them. So since then, he's talked to more than 200 people standing on the edge of the bridge. So there you go.
I knew when you first mentioned his name, I knew the name, and then especially the story sounded familiar. A podcast, which I've actually plugged in here before, I think because of a shout out. Do you get your shout outs from the podcast I listen to? In 2016, Kevin Briggs was on the Mental Illness Happy Hour, which is a very interesting podcast for someone like him to go on, because it's all about mental illness and dealing with, and how not even just the people jumping or not jumping, but how he deals with that himself. And I thought it was a super interesting interview, and obviously because I heard the name and I immediately thought of it.
Right.
But so if you want to hear about him and hear about what it's like to deal with that, listen to the Mental Illness Happy Hour.
There we go. Thanks, buddy.
But first, listen to the Untranslatable podcast. I guess you have to even get to this point.
That's true. and yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned he was on there, because I'm sure he's suffered some trauma for, I'm sure people have jumped.
Yeah, he hasn't saved everyone.
Right. And that's got to be a really hard experience to watch.
For sure. And as you mentioned,
definitely.
he mentioned what you were reading, where it gets to a point where you wonder if you're responsible for someone jumping. You start blaming yourself, or you know.
It'd be easy to do. That's for sure. But
yeah, that's tough.
So big shout out to you, Kevin. Keep doing the good work.
Spread a little love. But I think it's about that time, the most important time.
That's true.
What we're all here for, the namesake of this here podcast, the Untranslatable Owl for the Untranslatable Phrases. I only have one because my preparation was,
You're good, because I got 3.
There we go. You start then.
All right. So my first one is Czech, and it is zamilovat z bezhlave, which means falling headlessly in love.
It's like head over heels. It's like
it's too easy, but hit the ham horn. I'm running out of difficult ones in Czech.
That still isn't untranslatable, but it's just one that is very familiar to us.
Right. But
okay.
Just so you know, though, bezhlave, it's not only used in connection with falling in love. It means like headlessly, and bez means without. Literally, I guess without head. Bezhlave also can be describing reckless or absent-minded behavior.
So theoretically, you could have. Oh, so it's in love without head.
It's yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds more like an untranslatable when you put it like that.
Right, that's true.
But you cleaned it up for me, which is very nice. Thank you. So I have one, and it's Hausa.
Nice.
Which I've done before. And this is a real mouthful, so hold your horses, everyone. That's not even the right untranslatable to use.
It's a good one.
Makafo, I have two. Hold your horses, which means hold on, and this one. Makafo yarasa ido yache ido na wari, which literally means the blind man lacks eyes. He says eyes stink.
Is that like I have no idea. Don't judge a book by its cover. I have no idea.
The blind man does not have eyes, so
Right.
he says eyes stink.
So it's like when you don't like something because of jealousy.
That's a little too harsh. Using jealousy seems a little too harsh. It's more appreciating what you cannot appreciate what you don't have.
Ah, okay.
So the blind guy, it's not really being jealous, but the blind guy's like, I don't get what all the big deal with these whole eye seeing is. Like, I get around just fine, and I don't, and I
Right.
can't see anything. You guys
Right.
really seem to enjoy these eyes. Okay, I'm sure it's great to see colors.
Right. That's true. So my last two are German because I figured it would be appropriate since
Got to start preparing.
exactly we both need to brush up on our Deutsch. That's for sure. So my first one for you, Jared, is Luftschloss.
Okay, and that is a air castle. Mm-hmm. Air castle. Is that like having a false sense of like bravado or like thinking overly highly of yourself
Not about yourself.
about
Definitely
a
not about
situation
yourself.
or someone else? Is like putting someone else on a pedestal?
I mean, no, I wouldn't say it's about people.
Okay.
Like you
Is
could
it-
say, du lebst im Luftschloss. Like you're living in a air castle.
Is it someone that's like vain and only cares about like a materialistic? Okay, give it to
No.
me. I'm
An
striking out.
An air castle potentially is unattainable, right? Castles in the air. So you have these really lofty dreams, lofty goals. And I picked this one
I was
because
looking at it differently. I was thinking like you're almost pretending, or like you have like a lot of stuff, but it's fleeting.
right, yeah, which isn't a bad guess, but yeah. And the reason why I picked this one is when we've been kind of talking a little bit about this trip. I think we get into the Luftschloss area.
We'll talk about that later, but we
Exactly. Yeah.
definitely had some some ambitious goals for
Exactly.
the week that I'm going to be there.
Exactly. And my last one for you is Zugzwang. It's a good word to say. Zugzwang.
I don't know what Zwang is. Zug is a train.
Zwingen is like Zug can also be pull.
Oh, okay. How would you?
Right.
What's the what do you call it when it's like the base form of the?
It's
Zugen?
well, wouldn't it be ziehen?
Oh, okay.
Zug.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Ziehen. I just didn't know Zug was the past tense of it.
I think it's here. Hold up. Hold up. I think Zug can also be like it can be like a drag on a cigarette too, can't it?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't smoke cigarettes. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, tug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ziehen,
Okay.
Zug. It's
Okay.
No, you know what it is? It's a noun.
Oh,
It's not a
okay.
verb. It's a noun.
I got
That's
you.
why it's a noun.
I got you. Is it spelled like train?
Yeah. It means tug, pull, gulp. A big.
Okay.
A big.
See, I would say schluck.
Zug.
I would say
Yeah.
schluck.
Well,
for
a
that.
Zug would be a großer Schluck.
Right. So, I guess a
Großer
schluck is a sip.
Großer Schluck. Exactly. So, anyways, so pull and zwingen is like to force or like persuade or something like that. And zwang would, I think, also just be the noun.
So it's to force.
Force. I would say force, coerced,
Okay.
compelled.
Is it like convincing someone to do something, or like being like
Kind
it's
of.
like you're really pushing someone to do something, like, oh, come on, oh no, it's gonna be fun, you'll love it.
I would say not really to do something, but it's when you force someone to make a decision. And sometimes,
Picture Brett Kavanaugh at a high school party.
oh geez. But yeah, so you use Zugzwang during a time when you feel immense stress or pressure and you have to make a strategic decision. Zugzwang originally described the feeling chess players felt when trying to make a move, but now you can pretty much use it whenever like you need to decide.
Right. Yeah.
And I picked this one because I hope we don't have to have any Zugzwang while you visit.
Maybe not while I visit, but as we're about to talk about my trip right now, we're going to have to make some decisions beforehand. And we've already had to cut some stuff off the list.
Yes, we have.
So
let's get to it.
I am going to be in the Czech Republic and Berlin and maybe other places in less than a month. And the thing is, I realized when I started thinking about this is I don't know how to plan a trip. I've never really had to plan a trip. And this is, as far as a big trip goes, this is the most it's not I'm still not even a solo trip. I mean, the flight's solo, but that's the easy part. Like
Right.
I don't know how to I don't know how to plan trips. Where to start? Let me start with budget, I guess.
Which airline are you traveling with?
British Airways. I'm going through Heathrow.
Okay. But then from Heathrow to Germany, is it also British?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, I have a little challenge for you. If from Heathrow to Berlin, the flight attendants speak German, I want you to only speak German with them. Yep.
All right, I can do that.
My first challenge for you.
I can do that.
See, I usually fly with Lufthansa, so I'm speaking German the whole time.
Right.
I love it.
Right. Flight attendants are a safe bet for a safe space to speak a foreign language because they're used to dealing with people from every language.
Over. Exactly.
Right. And so they seem like they'd be a forgiving bunch.
Right.
Dude,
and
how do you feel about? Have you been on a long flight or a normal not a non-long flight and seen? It's usually a dude. Let's be honest. That's like chatting up the flight attendant.
I've never seen that before.
I've seen it a couple times, and I'm like,
that's awkward.
I'm the wrong person to think this, but I'm always like, if this was me and I was at work, I'd be like, oh my god, sit down, please,
sit down and shut
alone.
Up. Right.
I've seen that a couple times, and I'm like, I can't imagine that the flight attendant is into this.
Right. Yeah, probably not.
So anyway,
budget.
Yes,
right?
Budget seems like where you'd start, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
So we don't have to talk numbers because I don't even know what the numbers are, but I'd say we have a moderate budget.
Right.
You know, contrary to popular belief, we're not balling.
Not yet. One day we will be, but not yet.
And so budget really is only going to come as far as like what Airbnbs go.
Yeah,
or where we stay,
accommodation, and maybe restaurants,
and travel. I guess travel as well.
Yeah, and that was the other thing we were talking about when we were trying to plan this. We were being way too overzealous, or we were getting into that Luftschloss territory where we were like, oh, we could go to Vienna and then we'll go to Budapest and we'll go here and we'll go there, which is great.
Take a night train from Budapest all the way back to Berlin,
right?
For my flight back home. It'll be easy. Quick 9-hour train ride.
But the thing is, if you take the train, unless you have a special discount card, it can get pricey. Like my train when I was with Jeff, go way back to one of our earlier episodes, and give that a listen. Right. But I think it was for the two of us, because the way we did it is he paid for the hotel. We actually stayed in a really nice hotel. And I paid for the train tickets, and it was just about the same price actually for a hotel. We stayed there 3 nights, I think. And then the train ticket between the two of us was, I think, roughly, it was about $150, $160 a person.
That's not bad.
I mean, it's okay, but I would prefer
cheaper.
It's a
lot. I mean, it is a lot, by the way.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good point. I have a confession to make, and I'm all about honesty here at the Untranslatable Podcast. I have never booked a hotel or Airbnb ever.
Really?
Well, for work I have.
Okay.
But that's
interesting
because it's a hotel I know and it's all that stuff. But I've stayed in hotels and I've stayed in Airbnbs, but it's always been with friends and they've always handled the accommodations. I don't have the Airbnb app on my phone.
Well, if you want, I didn't realize that. So if you want, let me handle the accommodations. I did not realize that.
That's right. I forgot that I was tasked with finding
at least for Berlin. Berlin, I'll have Prague on lockdown, and if we go anywhere else, it's no problem.
I I had no problem doing that part of it, but I guess now that I think about it, it is useful to mention that I've also never done it. But when you asked me to do that part, I was fine with it. I was like, well, what am I going to say? I've never done it. You do it. It's like,
right.
Do it. You have to do it eventually.
Right.
I'm gonna have to get a hotel by myself eventually, so might as well just do it now.
I would also say though too, check Airbnb, but also I love Booking.com.
Okay. Should I also check Couchsurf while I'm at it? Or is that actually going to be someone else staying there if it's couch surfing?
If it's couch surfing,
be an Airbnb situation?
You're usually if it's couch surfing, you're usually there with them.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't really want that.
Yeah, it's free. I would usually see that. Here's the thing: with an Airbnb or a hotel, there's usually a safe spot where I can store my passport. If I'm couch surfing, I'm probably going to want to keep that thing on me 24/7. And it's not
keep that thing on me.
That's right.
Sorry, I don't know why I had to do that.
It's not because I don't trust other people. It's just you never know.
Yeah, and that's the one thing you don't want to lose, especially while you're abroad.
Exactly. So, and that's the other thing. Bring copies of your passport.
I should do that tomorrow. I should take it to work and make copies
bring
of it.
copies because I do that when I go out. I'll keep a copy with me, and then I have my driver's license as well. I've had no problems in Europe using my driver's license. But if they wanted to be a dick, especially these bouncers with their power struggle, right? You bust that out and then it's fine.
That sounds like a made-up place.
Exactly. So yeah, but Airbnbs, like in Prague, I stayed in an Airbnb last night. I paid $35.
That's right up our alley. As in Prague?
In Prague, and I'll probably book with that place again when we go to Prague because it's in a great location. It's in Prague 2, which is... There are a lot of expats there, but there's not a lot of tourists there. So it's a nice scene. There's some great restaurants. It's right by the metro, right by the tram. It's perfect. So yeah, but Booking.com would be good. Check that out for Berlin. The thing I like about Booking.com is you can book and you don't pay for it immediately. So you pay for it when you get there. And
that's nice.
And a lot of the other things on Booking.com is you can, a lot of the ones I will get, I think you pay $5-10 more, and then you can cancel it if you need to, and then you get all your money back.
That's sweet. That's good.
So
I like that.
Yeah, and I think I still have a code. I'll have to look, but I think I have a code from Booking.com. If I send it to you, you and I both get 25% off.
Sweet. So
I'll send
maybe we
can
make that work, and I'll book somewhere, you can book somewhere else, and we can maximize that code.
That's right. All
right.
I might even have an Airbnb code too. So I'll check these things out later, and we'll code it up and get some good discounts.
Yeah, you're a modern day coupon snipper.
That's right. That's right. A digital coupon snipper now.
There we go. That's a way better way to put it.
Right. But yeah. But I would suggest in Berlin, I personally prefer places more in the eastern parts of Berlin. Or,
maybe we should just booking accommodations to you because you also know both Berlin and Prague way better than I do.
That's true. All right, I'll
so
do
you
the
know better areas to stay.
All right,
and
so
I can look into it too and send you places like, what about this or something?
Right.
If I find a good price, I'll look into it because it would probably behoove me to at least
look into it and you send it to me and then I'll give you the okay.
All right.
But yeah, don't worry about Prague. And then so we'll be in Berlin. What did we decide? 3 days or 3 nights?
Yeah. Okay. So hold on. Let me just. I'm just writing. I'm writing. This is not even for clips. This is just notes for
for life, for real life,
for our trip for Berlin. Booking.com Airbnb. Yeah. So I fly into Berlin I leave Friday night from Philly, and I get to you in Berlin around 3 in the afternoon, 3:30 on Saturday. And so our first thought was to do a little shorter and go somewhere else later. But I'm thinking, why rush it and why try to cram in as many places and actually enjoy our time in the places that we do go to?
I agree.
So give go to fewer places, but give them the time they deserve. They probably deserve more time, but the time that we can give them that they deserve.
Right. Oh, definitely.
And so what? Saturday, we'll go there, eat, go out probably, and that'll probably be that'll be Saturday. So we'll walk around on Sunday, and then did we say Monday as well, and then leave Monday, or stay Monday and leave Tuesday morning or
I
leave
think
Monday evening?
Didn't we say Tuesday? I mean, we still have to figure out the logistics, but we could do either. I mean,
Okay.
really, honestly, man.
Well, my question to you is, where would you want to go from there? From
Prague.
Berlin.
Prague.
Okay.
Prague would probably be the easiest. I mean, unless the other option would be, if you wanted, we could do Berlin till Monday, then take the bus down to, or train down to Dresden, chill there for a day, because that's on the way back, and then we could take Dresden back to Prague.
Okay. Which is
but
closer?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Berlin would be like more up here, Dresden's down here, and Prague would be over here.
Okay.
Well, I guess for you it would be the other way around, but you get
For
the
all
picture.
of our podcast listeners, if you want to see Chad's fingers indiscriminately pointing at different spots in the air, watch
Check
us
out
on
our
YouTube.
YouTube channel. Exactly. But yeah, either way, we'll have to figure out the logistics some more. But yeah, I think Berlin is definitely worth. I mean, frankly, we could stay in Berlin all 6 days, and it would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. I mean, I would be okay with just Berlin and say Prague and Komutov.
Yeah, that'd be good. I agree.
And I guess we could do Dresden. Do you want it? Ah, man, this is.
Dresden's sweet, man. I love Dresden. It's a cool city.
I mean, it seems close enough that we could slide it in.
I think it's
Well,
because I took when I visited Jeff, I took the bus from Prague to Berlin. I think it was a 4-hour bus ride, which isn't bad at all. We stopped. We went Prague, Dresden, Berlin. I think you're in Dresden in about 2 hours with the bus, and then it's another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours up to Berlin. So I mean, we could even, depending on when the buses or trains leave, we could even leave Berlin in the morning on either it'd be Monday or Tuesday. Stop at Dresden, chill there for a bit, and then continue on to Prague. We could also do that. But I think Dresden...
so not spend a night in Dresden is what you're saying.
It would be an option. But the cool thing is, I think Dresden, depending on which night it would be, Dresden would be a cool place to chill for the night. Because there's...
All right.
So we'll see. We'll talk more about it off the air. But, I mean, all those places are worth seeing. But at the same time, we just... That's the tricky thing when you travel and you're making travel plans, is that... it's very easy to get overzealous, and my mom does this all the time whenever we travel. She says, "Oh, let's go here, let's go here, let's go here."
Yeah.
And because it's exciting to try to check out these new places. But I think I agree with your philosophy that it's nice when you can just chill somewhere and really enjoy it.
And if
not feel rushed.
We plan to record a couple podcasts as well, so we don't want to rush ourselves around.
Also true.
And we it's good to we can chill a bit.
Right.
We don't need to see everything. That just gives me a reason to come back.
That's also true.
So at Wednesday, so Monday or Tuesday we go to Dresden, and then from Berlin to Dresden on Monday or Tuesday, and then on Wednesday or Tuesday we go to Prague.
Right.
And then we stay in Prague for a night, 2 nights.
Ideally 2 nights, if possible. There's a lot of great stuff in Prague.
I might not be able to go to Komutov, it might be the case. We might not be able to go to your place, which if we can't, I guess I'm okay with that.
Right.
Because I might have to go. Because if we stay in Prague 2 nights, which is good. I mean, there's obviously plenty to see. I'd be okay with that. That would be Prague Wednesday, Prague Thursday,
and then Friday you gotta head back.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we can do stuff during the day, but on Friday I do have to go back to Berlin because my plane leaves at 7 in the morning on Saturday.
Right. Now the other thing we could do,
I should have gotten a longer trip, shouldn't I? But I guess it's your break, so it's.
Yeah.
I guess I should have. I would have
been fine with you staying longer. Wouldn't have been that big of a deal. You're an adult. Yeah, you could travel by yourself. But
That's true.
Anyways, I mean, the other option would be Berlin, Dresden, maybe, and then we could go straight from there to Komutov.
No Prague?
Well, go to Komutov for a day. Just chill, relax. I'm sure you might have some laundry to do or something. Come chill here. I can show you a couple good little local spots. And then the next day in the morning, we could leave for Prague. We could do
on
that.
Thursday we go to Prague? And the night
then
there?
That would make more sense because
Yeah.
we'd spend Thursday there, and then Friday you would have to leave for Berlin.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And I'll probably just chill in Prague for a couple days then.
Okay.
Crying
There
a
we
lot
go.
because you're gone, but
Yeah, I'll be crying on the airplane thinking about you, looking
true.
at all the swiping through all the selfies, duck face selfies you and I
That's
took.
true. That's true. We do need to take a lot of, and see, that's the thing, man. I'm horrible about pictures. Like
Me too, bro.
selfies.
Especially selfies and pictures of people.
Right.
Like I'm better at taking pictures of cool like scenery.
Right.
But people is really hard for me to do.
Exactly. What do you think are some of the most difficult things about planning a trip?
Obviously
the budget.
Another thing I've been struggling with is deciding what it is. Well, as I mentioned, same thing I struggle with when I have people come visit me is what to do during the day. Now, it's a little easier when you go to Europe and you and I are kind of on a little bit more on the same page with that stuff.
Right.
But like when you're going to a place like Berlin or Prague where it's like there's more than a week's worth of stuff in both of these cities.
Right.
It's just like, what do I really want to do? And like, once again, even though we're not stretching ourselves as thin by not going to a whole like a city a day,
Right.
even though we're not stretching
that'd be
ourselves too
crazy.
thin that way, there's still the potential to stretch yourself too thin within one place by being like I need to see the Brandenburg tour, I need to see the the Holocaust Memorial, I need to see everything, like I need to see everything, and so
I think in Berlin, if we're there for 2.5, 3 days, we can see a lot of the main sites.
Right. Is it easy to get around? I mean, Berlin's huge, isn't it?
It's gigantic. But yeah, it's easy to get around. Bring your walking shoes. You already know. You've been to Europe. Bring your walking shoes.
That is actually one thing I did want to talk about is packing.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
So I do need to buy new walking shoes. My Sambas are worn to the point where if I wear them more for longer than like 20 minutes, my feet get sore. So they're kind of dead. Which is the best thing about Sambas is they still look like essentially the same as when I bought them.
Yep.
The sole is worn. Anyway,
Right.
So I need to get new walking shoes. And then I was talking to Brad this morning about my packing regimen. And as I mentioned to you, I feel bad. I feel like Brad is sick of me talking, one, about the trip, and two, about you specifically.
Poor Brad.
But I was thinking, so I have a good-sized backpack. The backpack that I bought when I went hiking. Remember I told you that's my new travel backpack? And it's got those great pockets where, the little thing that you...
Right.
So I'll put my passport there and all that stuff in my phone.
Exactly.
And so I have a good travel backpack. And I was thinking, I have a kind of small to medium-sized roller. But I also have a roller suitcase for people. And I also have a medium-sized duffel bag. Not big, like medium-sized duffel bag.
Okay.
It's clearly in the medium setting. And I'm thinking that's easier to go around with than the roller. And I'm thinking I can get away with a week's worth of clothes, especially if I have the option to wash.
Right.
I can get away with a week's worth of clothes in the duffel and backpack, and that's going to be way easier to travel with.
Oh, definitely. That's true. That's a really good point.
But I think because I'm naturally an overpacker, especially on like
You and
big
me
trips,
both.
like I'm. No, I'm not going to do both. No, that's not going to happen.
I'm saying you and I both. We're both overpackers.
I think you said you're going to need both. No. Yeah, we are both over, and it's more just like I'm going to need double the amount of underwear for this time because I tend to shit my pants all the time, which is not true.
Yep,
It's like, why do I
do
need
the
so many
same.
socks? Like, how many? Do I think I'm just going to be jumping in puddles or something?
I went to Prague for one night. I had 3 pairs of underwear.
What do you expect to do while you're in Prague, Chad?
That Pilsner, man, just makes you crap your pants,
Dude, speaking of which, since I've had this hangover today, that's actually been a side effect that I've...
Oh, that's one of the worst parts about it, for sure.
Anyway, so I'm thinking that for convenience, I need to figure out a way to make it do with the backpack and the duffel. It'll be way easier and less cumbersome than the rolling suitcase. Even though the rolling suitcase will give me a little more space, I don't think I'm going to need that space. I think giving myself that more space is just giving myself more room to overpack.
Right. My other question, though, for you is, are you going to want to bring anything back?
I don't see myself bringing anything back.
Okay.
I mean, anything big back. Maybe I'll bring back 1 or 2 pieces of clothing.
Right.
If that. But I'm not going to bring
Because there's
back
some cool shops in Berlin and in Prague.
I got to bring something back, right? At least some sort of trinket, some sort of knick-knack.
Exactly.
But maybe that'll. I mean, I'll have to keep that in mind. It goes the same thing with overpacking, where it's like if I limit myself from the beginning, then that's your limit.
Right.
This
Right.
amount of space is how much you have, and so there you go. Use it wisely.
I mean, the other thing is though too, like I packed for 6 days, and this was with podcasting equipment, and we can also figure out how we'll coordinate that later. We don't need to do that on the air, but I brought. I mean, you saw the picture on Instagram. I brought my Osprey travel backpack. It's a 40-liter bag. I brought this little. The bag, it says it's 30 liters, but it's pretty thin material. I don't know if it could really hold up.
You don't want to pack it to the brim and have a.
But I brought those two, and that was 6 days worth of clothes. Well, really, it was probably 4 days worth of clothes, and I rewore some stuff. But you know, you'll be coming in March. It shouldn't be that hot.
I checked Berlin's. Actually, it's funny you say that. I literally have a picture of Berlin's weather from the Weather Channel in my that says what the weather will be. So I can tell you what the weather will be.
Oh, let's hear it.
My plan though is to bring, say, about 4 pairs of pants, maybe
For 6 days. I think you can get away with 3.
All right.
For 6 days, I brought
look,
2.
I'm already overpacking. Brad, who's here for a weekend, Friday to Sunday, 1 pair of pants.
Yeah, I mean,
that's ballsy.
I brought 2 pairs of pants to Prague. I was only there for 1 day because I figured if I spilled something, or but yeah, I mean, 1 pair of pants is ballsy. But
so Berlin is going to be actually exactly what the weather is here right now. It's supposed to be sunny, and I don't think much precipitation is planned, but it's going to be 30s to low 40s.
Okay,
low to mid 40s.
All right.
And so okay, maybe 3 pants. Because once again, I'm already overpacking in my head. Right. And then some sweaters and button-downs and whatnot.
Right.
And then like a pair of gym shorts or whatever. And
right, exactly.
And probably... See, shoes is hard.
Yeah.
I tend to overpack with shoes. I guess I have to commit to 2 pairs of shoes then.
Yeah, I'd say 2 is probably solid. I go with my pair of Nike shoes, and that's usually it, which can be a little ballsy as well. But I think 2 pairs is good.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, too, when you pack for places, especially with Berlin, I don't think this will be an issue for you and I because we're not really the club type of guys, right?
Right. I need to wear like a rainbow
Berlin, they have
tie-dye or something?
Well, depending on where you go in Berlin, yeah, they have like a dress code. I don't really like those places, so I just go to a bar and chill.
Yeah, I don't like those places either.
Right. So then it doesn't really matter. But for our listeners out there, if they do go to Berlin, you want to bring a nice pair of shoes with you if you're going into certain clubs. In other clubs where it's a more alternative scene, then bring your ratty old Sambas and you're probably good to go.
That was my plan, was to bring the Sambas and then like a pair of, I think they call them chukka boots.
Yep. I have a pair of them here as well. Mm-hmm.
And so that I would cover both of my bases.
There you go. Nice.
And I will bring that blazer.
Oh, nice. There you go.
That Vienna blazer. I got to get a good use out of it. So, I think I got packing down. Down.
Nice. We can check that off the list. Accommodations are more or less checked off. Later, we'll have to figure out our actual itinerary. What days we're going where. But I think it might be nice to come
outline.
Right. I think it would be nice to come back to Chomutov to break it up a little bit, and you can do some laundry.
And I would love to see your little town too.
Right.
I think it would be a cool breakup of the trip, as you said, to like get out of the hustle and bustle and go to a little quaint Czech town.
Right. And if it's not too freezing, we can go for a solid hike as well.
I'm down for sure. I'm down. So what kind of stuff would you recommend we do in Berlin? We'll start with Berlin. We'll go through all the cities, but let's start with Berlin.
So many things.
Some must-see places, keeping in mind we have 3 days.
Right. I mean, my number one favorite place, and I took Jeff here as well, is the East Side Gallery. That's the part of the wall that still stands. Yeah, that's really sweet. And I'm curious, too, to see if any of it's changed. So I would like to go there.
Okay.
East Side Gallery for sure. I mean, as you mentioned, the brand... I mean... With you, it's going to be probably a lot of the stereotypical touristy stuff, right? The Brandenburg Gate, the Holocaust Memorial, the East Side Gallery is really awesome. We have to get some currywurst somewhere.
I mean, and I'm going to have at least 3 donuts while I'm there.
Oh, for sure. Most definitely. I know a pretty good schnitzel place as well.
Oh, hell yeah. Jeez. I'm too hungry for this conversation. I'm about to tell you stop talking. I was like, oh, no, that's the whole point of us being here. This all sounds good. This sounds good.
Right. And then I want to take you to Kreuzberg, which is like a neighborhood, which is really cool. Friedrichshain, which is also a neighborhood. There's a lot of great places. So,
do you get sick of seeing the same attractions over and over again when you do these tour guide trips?
Yes and no. I think if it's a place I've been to more than 4 times, yeah. Whereas in Berlin, a lot of this stuff, I like to see it. I enjoy.
Is there
it.
anything? Is there? Yeah, well, like for example, the East Side Gallery, like it's art and it's potentially changing, so that's interesting always.
And I like the Brandenburg Gate because it's nostalgic. The first time I ever went to Germany, I was there.
Oh, cool.
So it brings back some memories, and it's a cool place to see. I love, the cool thing about Berlin is you can do some serious people watching. We might have to try to go to the place where they invented the doner, but it's a little pricey, but it's really good. But there's usually like a line down the street, so we'll see.
The doner was invented in Germany?
Yeah, in Berlin.
By Turkish people?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Or at least that's what they say.
I don't want you to give me some... I'd be real
pseudoscience,
disappointed if it was
facts.
like some German serving me this thing. Like,
Right.
what is this?
I mean, what's really funny is they have a currywurst museum
That's
in
hilarious.
Berlin. Yeah, they have a currywurst museum.
Have you been to it?
No, I have not.
Well, maybe we should
They
go
also
to the
have
Currywurst Museum.
they also have they call it Schokowelt, where I think it's Rittersport chocolate is there. But yeah, I mean, I want to take you to some of the neighborhoods because the neighborhoods are just they all have a different vibe.
Right.
It's really cool. Kreuzberg is awesome. I might even try to find a new pair of sneakers while I'm in Berlin because you can get some really cool sneakers in Berlin. I may also sneak into a barber
What I might
shop.
consider doing is you asked me if I wanted to buy anything while I'm there. Not buying shoes while I'm here and buying my walking shoes there.
Yes, but you also will have to break them in then while you're there.
Oh, right. Yeah, the first day is going to be painful, wouldn't it?
Right. Or
Yeah,
you could wear the
that's a good point.
chukkas and then you could wear the other ones for a little bit. I don't know. But then again, a lot of newer shoes nowadays I feel like break in pretty quick.
I mean, those hiking boots I bought 3 days before I went
Exactly.
hiking. Most of the walking I did was I walked to the grocery store twice, and I'm like, these are good to go.
Right, right. So
go
we'll see.
climb a
That's-
mountain.
That's a good idea, though. Yeah, we'll see. And I might also run into the barber shop in Berlin because they have a lot of really good barber shops.
Okay. All right.
Get a quick little haircut. We'll see.
Do they know? They wouldn't even know what to do with my hair.
Yeah, they would. You don't think there's black people in Berlin?
Well, I do, but they don't go to those. They don't go to the barber shops. I thought maybe they go to their different barber shops.
I mean, the barber shops, maybe. But I mean,
get
a lot
like
of the... What?
No, go ahead. I'm not even gonna do it.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think a lot of the barbershops I've only been to the barbershop 3 times in Berlin. Mm-hmm. They were all Turkish guys. And there was a black dude sitting in the chair waiting to go next. So
Okay.
You never know. Who knows? But anyways, other than that, though, I mean, there's just so many cool things to do in Berlin. I'll write my buddy who lives in Berlin as well and see if there's any insider. He's the one that gave Jeff and I the insider tip to go check out that waterfall.
Oh, right.
So
Is there any places in Berlin that you have still you still have yet to see that you're like, oh, I still can't believe I haven't been there?
not
like the-
really.
like the
That's why.
Donut
That's
Muse-
why
or
I
the
need to
Currywurst
do.
Museum?
That's right. That's why I need to do my research.
right.
Oh, I need to talk to my buddy Krishna. He spent a couple summers in Berlin doing research, so he knows a lot
Shout
of
out.
great spots. But yeah, and Prague. I mean, Prague
Yes.
will just be epic because I know a lot of really good restaurants, some cool bars, a couple cool jazz clubs. We could also go. There's this place called James Dean Bar, and it's always kind of a wacky crowd there.
The porn star?
Is that a porn star?
Yeah, he's a porn star, but I know he's an actor from the old days.
Right. That's
he-
the one they
he's-
model it off of.
He's a current. There's a porn star named James Dean with 2
Interesting.
E's.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
I'm not a fan. I've heard of him. Not a fan.
Fair enough. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in Prague. Well, I mean, for Prague, you got to see the castle. That's like a must. And there's a really beautiful view of
The castle?
Prague. Yeah, the castle. It's called the Prague Castle.
Okay.
And there's a really cool church there. There's some crazy museums in Prague. There's the KGB museum.
That sounds awesome.
Yep, I haven't been there, so we could check that out. There's a KGB museum. They have like an Apple museum, like Apple, the computer
Macintosh
company.
Apple?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. They have a communist museum.
Okay.
They have a sex museum. They have a torture museum. There's also I think this is kind of gimmicky, but there's also like an ice bar where like I think all the like shots are like ice and stuff, and it's like cold or something. I don't know. Probably not our steez.
The only thing I don't like about those is the shots usually suck. It's like this tastes like juice with a splash of booze in it. That's the only thing that bothers me mostly about those gimmicks.
Let's be honest. In Prague, I'm going to take you to some good Czech places. I actually went to a really good one yesterday. I've had the best beer I've ever had here. It's called
I was
Coat.
just about to say. I want to know what all the
amazing.
hype is about with these.
We'll go to a place with Pilsner as well, and I'll try to do some research and find this place. But I think I may have told you, with Pilsner beers, they have if you're at like a legit Czech place, they actually have different styles of pours. So you have, I forget what the normal one is, but there's a normal one. There's another one where they serve it where there's no foam. And then they have one called a Schnitt, which is like half foam, half beer. So that's like if you're getting towards the end of the night,
People
you're already
like
kind
that?
of drunk. Yeah.
Oh.
And then the other thing they have, it's
like
called
all the foam
mleko.
tastes.
And mleko means milk in Czech. And it's basically a little teeny bit of beer and a bunch of foam. And the mleko, from what I've been told, that's what you're supposed to get at the very end of the night. When you're like, all right, I'm going home, grab a
I could use
mleko
one of
real
those
quick.
yesterday.
Right? And then you with a mleko, because there's so much foam, you're supposed to drink it all in one. And because of the foam, it's a sweeter taste. Right? Like the head of the beer does change the taste profile of it.
So the English translation for mleko is milk, but
Yeah.
it's also like nightcap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and so also in Prague, there's the Franz Kafka House, which might be worth checking out.
Yeah, he's the author, right?
Yep.
He wrote that transformation book.
Metamorphosis. Die
Yeah,
Verwandlung. Yep. Then there's this really cool. There's a statue of his head. Oh, you've seen it? I put it on Instagram, where it spins. That's pretty cool. There's a lot of great places.
That's someone's head?
That's Kafka.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that
just thought it
has
was a
the-
shiny thing.
No, that's supposed to be a head. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Exactly.
And I thought that was a cool picture, too. I looked at that for a while. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
realize it was a
there's
head.
a lot of great stuff in Prague. I have to say, even though, now I've cumulatively, I've definitely been to Prague more than Berlin. And I would say I know Prague a lot better. I know my way around pretty easy. Berlin, thankfully I have, with my phone, because I have Vodafone, they have it in Germany. I still have internet when I get there.
Nice.
So I can
nice.
search for
So
stuff, which is great. Yeah,
We're not completely off the grid.
exactly.
My phone works internationally. It's just very expensive.
Right. Yeah, that's the only downside. I mean, you could probably get a cheap SIM card, but you're only there for 6
Do
days.
I really
and
need it, though? I mean, I'm going to be with you, and I'm only
Probably
there
not.
for a few days.
Unless we, for some weird reason, get separated.
I mean, if it's some sort of emergency, I'll just use my phone.
Right. Fair, yeah,
Suck it
we'll
up.
figure it out. Right. But yeah. And then in Chomutov, I have a couple ideas. There's a really authentic Czech pub that I'm going to take you to. And this is the place where I may have mentioned it on the pod before. When you're drinking your beer and you have like this much left, they will bring
Tiny bit
you a
left at
fresh
the bottom.
beer.
Oh,
Unless you put the coaster on top of the
right.
beer. They
Yes.
just keep bringing them. You don't even have to ask.
Right. So that's great, but it could easily turn dangerous.
Right. I mean, the
Do
first
they-
time I went
do they
there,
look
I'd had
down upon
11
you?
beers.
You get 11 beers?
11 beers. First time I went there. Yeah.
Slipping on gator piss.
Yep.
Do they look down on you if you don't finish your beer? Like if they fill it up and you take a couple sips and you're like, well, sorry, I'm done. I'm like, oh, well.
That's never happened. I don't know. Good question. Good question.
Like I'll never find out.
Right. Exactly. And then while you're here, there's a couple different Czech drinks that I have in mind that you should try.
Okay.
Slivovica, which is a plum brandy. I really like it.
You've mentioned that to me.
They have Hruškovica, which is a pear brandy. That's even better.
Okay.
Slivovica, Hruškovica, Besharovka.
There's one with a B.
Besharovka, yep. So what I need to do is make a list. And what I'll do is I'll make a list. And at some point before you come, I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going
Okay.
to post it on our Instagram.
All right. I love it. I love it. Look out for that Untranslatable Podcast.
That's right.
So the places in Prague that are like good restaurants, is Prague like, is there a lot of Czech food restaurants in Prague? I feel like the answer is no.
Oh, there's a ton of Czech places in Prague.
Okay.
But
I just don't know what their cuisine is.
You have to find the good ones, because I think there are a lot of really touristy ones where the food is okay, but it's really expensive.
Right.
So they're
packed.
Exactly. But I mean, Czech food is it's heavy. It's a lot of meat and potatoes or dumplings and a sauce. And it's funny, they have a Czech word for the sauce. They call it uho, and uho means like unanimous brown sauce. Something omáčka. Omáčka is Czech for sauce. So it's really funny that like if you talk to a Czech person, if you say uho, they know what you mean. 100%.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of dishes, Czech dishes that will have this. But the foods you have to try while you're in the Czech Republic, and I'll put this on the list as well, is svíčková, which is like it's a pork, or not pork. It's a beef like tenderloin that's cooked and super tender. Like it falls apart. It's delicious, and it's in a sauce that I believe it's made with carrots and something else, and it's usually like a dark orange, but not like a vibrant orange, but like a orangish brown.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then dumplings, and then they have cranberries and a little bit of I don't know if it's not whipped cream, but it's like a cream.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's like a yogurt.
Really good. I'll have to
or
ask
like
what
a
it
creme
is.
fraiche. Cream
Maybe
fish?
maybe kind of like that. Maybe, but yeah. So that's one thing you'll have to try. I'll get a list. But yeah, Czech food is delicious, especially paired with a good pilsner. It's hard to go wrong. It's really hard to go wrong. But yeah, it'll be a fun trip though. I think we'll get a good itinerary going, and we'll document our travels for our listeners, and hopefully it'll give them some good tips and tricks if they go to Berlin or Prague, or who knows, maybe even Chomutov.
Oh yeah, I'm interested to see what sort of topics we decide to talk about while we're there for the pod.
Right.
And how we do that. That'll be fun.
Maybe we'll have to kind of do it like in a way like a travel. What we could also do, which might be kind of interesting, is each night just do maybe a 10, 15, 20-minute recap of some of the stuff we've been doing that night. We could either combine them or do whatever. We can talk about it later and figure it out. But I think we definitely have a lot of options. And we hope that you all enjoy our travel shenanigans. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to...
We're excited.
You coming. Because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't sure if it would happen because those flights are expensive.
Yeah, and it was a small window. I really only had like a month and a half to
I didn't
find
help
a good
you out.
price.
I didn't do you any favors, that's for sure.
No, but I conquered the price alerts this time and made them my B word.
That's
I found a good price that I was happy with at least. And so yeah, it is kind of crazy too because I've talked about it on this pod that I want to finally do that, and it's just cool to see it finally coming to fruition because it's all sort of. Like, it's all just talk until, the money's been paid and
that's true.
And it's in the books. I also put in the vacation for work, and that's clear. Nice. So I have those days off. I'm free.
Perfect.
So, yeah, it's cool to finally see stuff like that come to fruition. And it's cool to also see how excited we both clearly are. Like, it's going to be fun.
Oh, it'll be a blast. And speaking of fun, we have a fun song of the pod this episode for all of our listeners out there. I think probably our listeners in the States have heard this song before. Maybe also our listeners in Europe. I'm not so sure about the ones.
They're from France.
Right. So our song of the pod is Around the World by Daft Punk. And Jared, can you fill our listeners in why we chose that song this episode?
Well, when Chad and I first started planning our Europe trip, we were essentially going all around Europe. Like we were planning on going to Budapest and Poland, and then maybe stopping in Vienna. And it when we were trying to pick a song before this, I was just laughing to myself about all those places, and I was like, man, we're really trying to go. Like in my head, I'm like, man, we're trying to go around the world, and I just thought, around the world. Right. And Daft Punk, who most people know, is one of my favorite groups. I think they're amazing.
They're fantastic.
And so this song is I also the reason why I thought of Daft Punk because actually, I might do this after I drop right off and get back here. Daft Punk would make great airplane music.
Oh, that's true.
99% of Daft Punk's music would be great, especially if you're trying to fall asleep. There's, most of them don't. Some of them have words, but most of them don't have words. And even the ones that do have words, it's really all about the beat and the background and like the background music. So I just thought that as I thought of that as a song of the pod choice, I also thought I need to put this on my iPod before I take that long ass flight.
That's true.
And jam out to that.
I'm curious as we get closer how you will be planning and prepping. So keep us updated. I'm curious to see.
For sure.
Because hopefully it will be helpful for some people. Not everyone has traveled extensively, and it's good to get some of those tips. But
yeah, that's why I'm also not fully against me, even though locations. I wasn't fully against me doing the hotel stuff because I was like, I got to learn at some point.
That's true.
But it also, so.
And I kind of was thinking it makes you do a little bit of research about Berlin.
Right.
That's kind of where I was coming from. Prague, don't worry about it. I'll take care of that. But Berlin is so big that I think it also would be helpful if you knew some stuff as well.
Right. If you weren't just the sole leader,
right,
that I just follow behind you.
Exactly. Prague, I'm okay with that. Obviously, Chomutov, no problem. But yeah. So check out our Song of the Pod, Around the World by Daft Punk. I don't even think much needs to be said because it's such a great song.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about icons.
It's a classic.
Electronic music icons.
Exactly. So check that out on our Twitter, Untranslatable1. It will be up after this episode drops.
Yep.
So
and
Jared,
on our playlist as well. If you want to see all of our previous songs of the pod, we have a playlist on our YouTube channel that has every time I post it on Twitter, I then go to our YouTube and put it into the playlist.
Exactly.
So not all of them. We'll say 97% of them are there.
Right.
Just to play it safe.
Exactly. Good call. So Jared,
all the good ones are there.
I wanted to give you 2 Czech words, and you'll know one of them, I think. But these are useful words and related to what we'll be doing. So the first one is vlak, V-L-A-K, vlak. What do you think that means?
Fly or walk?
Nope.
Travel?
Nope. It's a means in which you can travel.
Oh, a train?
Boom. Good job.
Is it like the noun for train?
Yeah, train.
Oh, okay.
Vlak.
Okay. Vlak.
And there's a Czech railway, and their app is called Můj vlak, which means my train.
Okay.
So that's
Můj
where I
vlak.
used to book my trains. And the other one is autobus. That one's pretty easy.
Which is just bus?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the cool thing about Czech,
I wonder if they know that they can just cut off that auto part and just call it a bus.
I think a lot of Czechs might. They might.
Seems just unnecessary.
Right.
It's kind of redundant.
The other funny thing about Czech is, and you'll see this when you're in Prague, at least this really stuck out to me the first time I was in Prague, you'll see a lot of words with Y's on the end of them.
Okay.
Any guesses why that might be?
Plural?
Exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly. So autobusi would be trains. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It does.
All right. So I have a couple puns for us today. Oh, no. I wanted to mention, it is Black History Month. This is what happens when you don't look at your notes, because we've just been going off the cuff this episode. But I wanted to commemorate, before I get to the jokes, I want to commemorate
Spread a little love.
a really, really important figure during Black History Month. Do you know who Robert Smalls is?
Biggie Smalls' dad?
No, he was alive in the 1800s.
Okay, who's Robert Smalls?
So Robert Smalls, this is a guy who should be
my people.
He should be well known, but he's unfortunately not. So Robert Smalls, he was born in Beaufort, South Carolina, and he was a slave. He was a house slave at first, and then at the age of 12, his owner sent him to Charleston to work as a waiter, shiprigger, sailor. But of course, because he was a slave, all of his earnings went back to his owner.
Right.
And so this happened until Smalls was 18, and then he negotiated to keep all but $15 of his monthly pay, which allowed him to start saving money.
Nice.
Savings accumulated later, and he used this money later to purchase his wife and daughter from their owner for a sum of $800, which this would have been...
That's a lot of money.
Especially back then.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Back then,
Right,
it's a lot of money now, but it's a lot of money back
So
then.
what's interesting, though, so this is where the story gets crazy, Jared. So as you know, the Civil War breaks out, and in 1861, Smalls was hired as a deckhand on the Confederate transport steamer, the Planter, captained by General Roswell Ripley. And so he was assigned, or the Planter was assigned the job to deliver guns and arms to the Confederate forts. Well, Mr. Smalls, first of all, made the Confederates believe he was loyal, everything like this, right?
Right.
Well, he ended up commandeering the ship, learned the hand signals or whatever they did back then. He had to get by 5 or 6 other Confederate ships to get it far enough north. And right before the Union was going to fire at him, they put up the white flags, the surrender flags, right? And he came up and he said, I wanted to return these U.S. guns to you guys and help you guys fight the war. So what's pretty crazy, though, is so after that, he not only did he do this, he also got on the ship with his wife, his kids, and 12 other slaves from the city, and they sailed it to the harbor where the Union ships had formed their blockade. And like I said, this trip led the ship past 5 Confederate forts, all of which required the correct whistle signal to indicate they were a Confederate ship. So by the time he got past them and they realized that somebody had stolen it, it was too late, right? So then later, he became a Navy officer and later a captain of a ship. I think it might even be the same ship, and fought against the Confederacy. And after this,
I am the captain now.
right? Exactly. What's crazy though is after this, like I said, he was promoted captain, the first ever African American to hold the rank in the history of the U.S. Navy. And after the Civil War, he entered politics, and this was when Republicans and Democrats were flipped, right? So he entered politics as a Republican. He was elected to the South Carolina House of Representatives and later to the South Carolina Senate. He was also elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, first from South Carolina's 5th District, later from their 7th District. And he served in Congress between 1868 and 1889. When his term ended, this is where the story becomes baller, Jared.
This is where it becomes baller?
Well, it's all baller. But what happened is after he was done, he became the South Carolina Collector of Customs, and he purchased and resided in the house in which he had once been a slave.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's some Django and Shane level of
right.
of payback. That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
That is I'm so glad you told me that. I'm going to remember that, and you just added to my Black history knowledge. Thank you.
There you go, Robert Smalls.
I like the idea of white people doing research about Black history icons and teaching it to other people.
It's great. It's great.
I could get used to that segment.
So I have a couple kind of doofy puns for you today. So here we go. What does a house wear?
What's that? I don't like guessing because I got it right one time.
A dress.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right, like address, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm, What prize did the man who invented the first door knocker receive?
Oh, I know the answer.
Give it to me.
A ring.
Nope. That's a good one. But he won the Nobel Prize.
Oh. That's better. That's way better.
Right. Thought that was funny. So those are my doofy puns of the pod today. Hope you all enjoyed them.
Parada.
And the last quote, now it's time for our quote. And our quote for today it's an African proverb. I wish I could tell you where in Africa, but it's an African proverb, and it goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah. Scares me sometimes in my personal life as someone that is a pretty solitary person. Not
It'll
this
be
weekend,
fun, though. That's true. It'll be fun though, and plus, if I'm with you, you're such a damn fast walker. You're gonna have to go slower.
True. That's true.
But yeah, it'll be a fun trip, and we're really looking forward to keeping all of you updated on our travels and our shenanigans and whatnot. And we hope that it will give all of you some tips, ideas, and maybe some insight what to do or what not to do when traveling with your friends. So stay tuned. We're looking forward to bringing you some more content in the near future. Should be a great time for everybody involved. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast. Now we are on video, so you can see Jared's beautiful face and my scraggly beard. And if you want pictures of Philly, Prague, Czech Republic, Germany, whatever, check out our Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. And if you have any untranslatables, we need them. Please send them to us.
Пожалуйста.
Untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. So we thank you all so much for your support. We'll be in touch. And as we say in the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme.